morning. All righty. We're going to kick things off. Welcome to the Saunders College of Business 12th Annual Power Your Potential Conference. Yes, congratulations. We're here. We're in person. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Anne-Catherine Candelori. I am a fourth-year management information student representing the Saunders College of Business. I'll be emceeing today with three other fantastic women in business. First, we have Maggie Dempsey. If you want to, yep. She is a fourth-year Saunders student majoring in MIS, or Management Information Systems. And then we also have Pollock, but I'm not sure where she is. Oh, perfect, Pollock's right over here. She is a first-year student currently studying business exploration. And also, we were all part of the planning committee for this year's Women's Leadership Summit, B-STEAM Challenge 2022. Okay, so our conference today will explore different paths to unlocking your potential, with stories, tips, and tricks, and advice from our speakers who specialize in fields across a variety of industries. With their years of experience in leadership roles, we hope that you find some personal wisdom from their successes and tribulations. Let their discussions and presentations spring new ideas in you and how to embrace your personal abilities and great potential. First and foremost, at this time, I'd like to invite Dean Jackie Mazeral to the stage for some opening remarks.
Thank you, Anne-Catherine. So good morning, and welcome to this year's Power Your Potential Conference. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to RIT and our beautiful University Gallery for what I know will be a memorable conference with engaging speakers, but also lots of networking opportunities. In addition to programming such as this conference, Saunders College is dedicated to the advancement of women through our full portfolio of undergraduate and graduate degree programs designed to meet the varied needs of leaders. We certainly have our highly regarded executive MBA program, which is currently ranked 9th in the nation by US News and World Report, but we have a whole portfolio of for-credit and not-for-credit offerings around leadership, analytics, marketing, and a whole host of other business disciplines. We also have a Saunders Leadership Fellows program that provides scholarships, provides mentoring and coaching experiences, as well as a cohort-based learning experience. And then Anne-Catherine mentioned our Leadership Academy, which recently hosted our Women's Leadership Summit for our students. But there was also a lot of alumni engagement, and I think some of you here today helped us to put that on. So I would like to thank you all for participating and engaging in these development opportunities. What I mentioned to our young women students at the Women's Leadership Conference was that some of our best learning begins when we get out of our comfort zones. Hopefully, this conference provides that platform for you as leaders to develop insights and lead in an active and authentic way. And also have the confidence to think about different opportunities, things that you hadn't planned. Sometimes we have a plan, but we have to have that confidence to take advantage of new opportunities. So I'm honored to be a part of this event. I'm honored that we're hosting this event as we celebrate Women's History Month at RIT. Before I finish, I just want to thank a couple people. This event would not be possible without the work of a great team of people that you can tell are behind the scenes, including Anthony Fitzsimmons, Karen Humbert, Eric Kuhlman, Molly McGowan, Olivia Runtondo, Bill Sackman, Leah Shapiro, Sandy Whitmore, Liam Welch, and of course, the person really responsible for carrying out this entire event is Gabby Harrington. But I would also like to thank our awesome students that are serving as MCs today, and I think you'll find that they're also awesome. So let's give them all a round of applause. So I invite you to engage in this wonderful program today. Get out of your comfort zones and enjoy your day.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be with all of you here today. We do have a full agenda, but first we would like to thank our amazing sponsors. Our lead sponsor, First American Equipment Finance, our VIP sponsors, RIT Women's Council and Manning & Napier, and our supporting sponsor, Conciliarium Group. First, American Equipment Finance serves middle market investment grade organizations throughout the U.S., focusing on technology hardware and software solutions and infrastructure developments. Headquartered in Fairport, New York, First American is ranked among the 100th largest leasing companies in the U.S. and is a subsidiary of City National Bank. As a company that stands for building a business with passion and professionalism, we thank you for your partnership with this event. One of our VIP sponsors, the RIT Women's Council, was established in 1955 with the main purpose to award scholarships to RIT women students who earn high academic achievement as well as community and RIT involvement when dealing with extenuating circumstances. Throughout its programs, the member of the Women's Council learn about RIT and how to be ambassadors for RIT in the larger community. They raise funds to provide scholarships to RIT women students and will actively seek to enhance the academic and campus life at RIT. Our next VIP sponsor, Manning & Napier, has been guiding clients toward their financial goals for more than 4 decades. Their independent, opportunistic style helps investors meet a wide variety of investment needs, even in the most challenging environments. Our supporting sponsor, Conciliarium Group, has a mission of helping companies attract and retain talent by offering smart, employee-centric benefit programs. With over 200 years of combined experience, when you work with Conciliarium, you partner with a group of trusted, experienced advisors who go above and beyond to exceed clients' expectations for quality service and outcome. So let's begin our day with our keynote speaker, Karen Putz, followed by Janez Thomas. But before you hear from our amazing speakers, we do have a few housekeeping items. First, make sure to share this event on social media and tweet us at #SCBPYP. Bathrooms are located in the hallway. During our breaks, make sure you connect with all of these wonderful women in the room and make sure to get their LinkedIn info or their email address. And once you have done this, tear off the bottom of your program and place in the jar to win a gift basket. And beverages will be to the back for the entire day. And don't forget to create your own flower bouquet during lunch. Now, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Karen Putz as your keynote speaker today. Karen, also known as the Passion Mentor, is an author, as you can see from the book in front of you, a speaker, an entrepreneur, and is on a mission to help people unwrap their passion at any age. She is passionate about her message, her experiences, and her ability to help people go through the most passionate journey they can take in their life. The very word passion gets her so excited that she could talk about it for hours. She says that if she could help one person with her gifts and abilities and change their life to incorporate passion, joy, and laughter, then she has fulfilled her purpose. Please join me in welcoming Karen to the Power Your Potential Conference.
Thank you all. It's great to see you all here. So, the first question that I got when I arrived here was, how do you pronounce your last name? It is Putz. I married a Putz. I gave up a perfectly good last name to become a Putz. So my story begins with the Today Show segment. In 2009, my husband sent me a Today Show segment that changed my life. But before I tell you how that happened, 56 years ago, I was born with normal hearing, and I can remember being able to hear as a very young child. In elementary school, I started losing my hearing thanks to a gene in our family that was passed down 4 generations. My mom was deaf all of her siblings were deaf and hard of hearing. By the time I was born, my oldest sister was deaf, but the rest of my siblings were hearing at that point. When I grew up, I did not have any deaf, hard of hearing role model other than my family. I was the only one in school who was hard of hearing. When I got my first hearing aid at the age of 9, I hated the thing. I always wore my hair down. You would never see me do something like this and show my hearing aid to any of my peers. I was very embarrassed being hard of hearing. I look at those years and I call them my Swiss cheese education years. That's because when you are hard of hearing and you don't have full access to communication, you're like a duck on the water. And I was very fortunate I could lip read well. So my teachers and my peers thought that, Karen's just fine in school. But what was happening like a duck on the water, gliding, I was paddling furiously underneath, trying to be the best possible imitation of a hearing person that I could be, which meant that when I was in a group situation, I would bluff. So if the whole group was laughing, I would laugh. Queen of bluffing is a natural human thing. We all do it. Whether we're hearing, deaf, hard of hearing, we have moments of humanness where we don't want to be embarrassed. So we bluff. And that was me. So fast forwarding to high school. I found the sport of barefoot water skiing. I was not that good as a teenager. Okay? So as a teenager, I loved the sport of barefoot water skiing. To say that I was passionate about it was saying a lot. I was passionate about that sport. One day, on a Sunday, I decided to do a trick that I had done one time before at high speed, and I fell. When I climbed into the boat, I had become profoundly deaf. My front lips were moving, and I'm like, oh, I've got water in my ear. Being deaf was there to stay. 3 weeks later, I transferred to Northern Illinois University, and they put me on a deaf floor, and I protested. I was so angry. I did not know any American Sign Language. I wanted to be in a normal dorm. And so I'm like screaming at this poor student, telling her that she needs to move me into a different dorm. And my mom said to me, Karen, go into this with an open mind. Maybe you'll meet someone. And there's a reason why they say you should listen to your mother. Mother's always right. My mom was right. We've been married almost 33 years. Yeah, Mom was right. But I will tell you, during that time was very, very dark time in my life. Being in a new school, being away from home for the first time, being deaf. Our phone system wasn't working. I was really failing in my classes, and I wanted to end it. That's how painful it was at that time. So I'm sitting there trying to make a decision. What can I do? And I had two choices. I knew I didn't want to end it, but I had two choices. I could either continue to struggle, to be miserable, to keep going the way I'm going, or I could make a change, do something different. I decided to embrace the journey. And at that moment, I decided I was going to become the best possible deaf person I could be. I learned American Sign Language, dove into the deaf community, and I always say that my world, before becoming deaf, was like this. My world after becoming deaf was like this. It just expanded. Becoming deaf became a blessing. Now, fast forwarding to the age of 44. However, though, life was good. But on my 44th birthday, I was crying my eyes out. I was up in Michigan at the lake. I had tried to barefoot the day before, couldn't get my feet anywhere near the water. So I'm sitting there crying, thinking, oh my gosh, 44, midlife is old. Life as I know it is over. There is nothing but wrinkles, sagging body parts, and diminished energy. That was my vision of midlife and beyond. My husband sent me that Faithful Today Show segment, and on that Today Show was that woman that I'm barefoot water skiing with, 66-year-old Judy Myers. So I'm doing the math, and that Today Show was not captioned. All I could see was the joy on her face. She's sitting there barefoot water skiing, she's 66 years old, and I'm doing the math. I'm only 44. In a moment, that paradigm changed for me. So I met with Judy, went down to Florida. She introduced me to the World Barefoot Champion, Kit Saunders, and he got me on the water on my first try. And it changed everything for me. That is what began my journey with passion in that book that you all have. Thank you to Saunders College for that gift. But that Today Show changed my life. I spent 4 years training with the World Barefoot Champions, and what I learned in those 4 years really set the stage for a passion for the last 11 years. The World Barefoot Champion taught me passion times 10, what it looks like. You know, the discipline, going for something, enjoying something fully, but also the surprising meaning of passion. You're gonna learn that in the next couple of slides. So Kit Saunders, just the one on the right there, he became my brother. We ended up writing another book together called Gliding Souls. The guy in the middle that you see here was a wonderful mentor of mine, and Jim passed away. He, at the age of 90, was still competing in barefoot water skiing. Do the math again. 44 to 90, got a long way to go. All of a sudden, it opens up everything. When you change the paradigm of what you can do and believing in yourself, and if you have a mentor that's ahead of you, the world is wide open. And even if you don't have that mentor, you may be the ones blazing the way with your passion and your discipline and your purpose. Yeah. So, as a result, in the last 11 years of embracing my passion, things just started opening up. And one of my first mentors, Kevin Hall, said to me, Karen, when you embrace your bliss, people will show up into your life and they will open doors for you. Some of your people may be in this room here opening doors for you. Think about that. All these crazy things and more happened. I was in a couple of magazines. I traveled, spoke in different places. I was a Chicken Soup for the Soul author. I wrote for Ricky Martin, the singer, for 1.5 years. You know, those opportunities just kept coming up. That is what happens when you have passion. People are attracted to your energy. That's what passion does for you. It attracts people to you, you know? And you will see that it will take you places that you could not even imagine if you embrace your path with passion. So, before we start diving into passion, I want to explain a little bit more about being deaf. But to do that, I need a brave volunteer from this audience. Anyone willing to come up here and do a little experiment with me 6 feet away? Anyone? Who's brave enough? You speak right, because I need to hear it. Come on up. You, right there. I'm going to give you the microphone, if that's okay. Can I share a microphone here? All right. So I'm going to ask you to speak loud. Just say about 3 or 4 sentences, okay? Anything you want.
My name is Pamela Christopher. I work at NTID Co-op and Career Center. I'm an alumni of RIT. I've been here 22 years. Yes.
Here's what I heard you say. I only hear vowel. Thank you so much. That was our brave, passionate woman who came up here. Yeah. She broke through her fears. She didn't know what was going to happen up here. And she broke through the fear and came up anyway. That is your lesson right there. There's always going to be unknowns in life. There's always going to be things you fear in life. You cannot let that stop you between where you are, where you want to be passionately. So thank you for sharing that lesson. Yes. So now we're going to talk about passion. What is it? How do you define it? Somebody give me some definitions of what passion is. Raise your hand if you're willing to speak. What is passion? An interest in something. Mm-hmm. Gusto. Mm-hmm. Yes. What else, people? What's passion? Mm-hmm. Yes. What else? Do what you love. Somebody in the back, anyone? What happened? We don't have passionate people here? We have one more. Something that needs to be shared. I have not heard that one before, and I have interviewed over 200 people. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, yes. Okay, now here's the thing. Why I asked that question, because in writing that book, I interviewed over 200 people, and I asked them that question. What is passion? How do you define it? I got over 200 different definitions of passion. Many people said it's the fire in the belly, you know, it's something you love to do, it's something you can't not do, you know. There was also a definition of passion that a friend of mine gave me. Before I share that, I'm going to share the one that I used in the book, and I love this definition of passion. The best definition of passion is your joy. It is the essence of who you are. Passion is like water. Turn on that tap, and it flows. You have to unwrap it to find it. A lot of times when we think of, I need to find my passion, it's not necessarily outside of us. It's a gift within us. And the way we find and unwrap that gift is by having experiences in our life that bring that energy of passion into our life. So that's how we find it. Now, in interviewing people, we had a book club, a deaf book club. And that night, we read a book called What Happy Women Know. So we're going around reading this book, talking about how we feel about it. And we got to talking about passion. And this was long, long, long before you even wrote the book or conceived it. And my friend Patty said to me, you know, she had a passion for being a mom. That's all she wanted to do. From the time she was a little girl, she wanted to be a mom. And she had 4 children, completely passionate about being a mom. Patty said something to me that made me realize that passion, sometimes we make it this big grand thing, passion, you know, you have to quit your job, move to an island, pursue your passion. But passion is also that quiet nudge in your heart that tells you who you are and what you want. And when you listen to that little quiet nudge, when you get still, you discover who you are, what you're about, what your values are, and you begin to live your life with passion based on that. So, this quote above here is the fuel. Passion is the fuel that'll push you above and beyond. That was given to me by the world champion. And it's true. When you have a purpose and you have a path, passion is that fuel that moves you down that path with purpose. All 3 of them together are a powerful force, something that's so powerful that no one can take it away from you because it's you. It's your passion. It's your energy. And the greatest things are accomplished with passion. Have you ever known anybody not to be passionate about something and really achieve something high? Hard to see that. Most great things are achieved with passion of some kind because that passion drives you with purpose. And now, 10 years ago, I read a book called The Passion Test. And I took a workshop with the author of The Passion Test. And during this passion test, the passion test forces you to understand what your top 5 passions are in life. That's what that test is designed to do. And to my surprise or not, the number 1 thing that I wrote on my passion test is that I am barefoot water skiing all year round. Now, what do you think the first thing happens when you write down something but you don't believe it? Because I wrote it down, but I'm thinking, oh, I don't have enough money, I don't have a barefoot boat, I don't have a barefoot wetsuit. Let's see, the lakes are frozen 4 months out of the year in Chicago. So your brain starts telling you all the reasons why you can't. Even if you identified something that you're passionate about, your brain is going to start rationalizing all the reasons, the 1,001 reasons why you can't do something. That's your rational brain saying that. But when you look into your heart is the one that tells you things that are impossible. I mean, we put a person on the moon. Don't you think the first time somebody said, I'm going to take a rocket and put somebody up on the moon, somebody probably told them that it was a crazy idea, right? All of the crazy ideas on this earth are always born in the heart. They come in the mind, but they're really from the heart. Because somebody's got to really know that this is what I want, this is what I want to happen. That's where passion comes in. Somebody was passionate enough to believe that we can put a person on the moon. So going back to this, I'm rationalizing why I can't. And my mentor came up to me and said, Kim, your job is not to think about how you can do it. Your job is to focus on the what. When you focus on the what, the how appears. I was skeptical, but I decided to believe her. In that first year alone, I barefoot water skied 11 months out of the year. Crazy things were happening. I got a bonus at work and flew down to Florida. I ended up being commercial, flew down to Florida, barefooted. I met a guy reached out on Facebook and said, we need a 3rd person in the boat. Do you want to come in barefoot? My husband's like, he could be an axe murderer. I'm like, I don't care, I'll die happy. As you know, I'm still here, so I won. But that's the point. when you focus on the what, all of a sudden people appear in your life, solutions come because of the passion there. So that's exactly what happened that first year. Now, there's a surprising meaning behind passion. People think it's all butterflies and angels when we think of passion, right? Quitting your job, moving to the island. Here's the thing, well, you know, let me ask you, anybody here love running? A couple of hands are going up. Any more? I mean, how many of you love running? Passionately love running? Okay, we have even less hands going up. I think there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 people passionately love to pound their bodies onto the earth and inflict pain on themselves. Why? I don't know. But they must be passionate about it. Because, ta-da, they're willing to suffer. Then when you really break down passion, you start to understand that if you are willing to go above and beyond for something that you are passionate about, you can change things. You can move the earth. You can change yourself. You can do amazing things. You can go above and beyond because you are willing to do it. Some of you are willing to get up at 4:30 in the morning and train yourself for a marathon. I was willing to get up at 4:30 in the morning, squeeze into a wetsuit, and pound my body along the water. I thought it was fun. Yeah, so it's a different way of looking at passion. Now, I put this up here because some of you love research. You probably can't read it, but the whole point, first of all, there's very little research on passion. As you can imagine, it's very hard to measure it, right? Kind of like happiness. What happiness is for one person may not be happiness for another, and measuring that is tough. But there are some studies out there, and what they are showing is that people who are passionate about an activity should experience higher levels of well-being than individuals who do not engage in such type of activity. Now, to me, when I read this, there are no definites in research here. Up there a little bit, it says, people who frequently engage in an activity that they deeply love may feel good. That's research. But I can tell you from 10 years of doing this, you will feel good. If you are passionate about something in your life, you will feel good. You will feel better. Because you have that energy that's much higher than most people. It's a good energy. You don't need research to know that. Yeah. Now, in studying passion for 10 years, I could not figure out why do some people, even from the time they're 4 years old, they know what they want to do. They love, they know, they're driven by it. You know, ice skaters who compete in the Olympics know that that's what they want. And then there are people who 60 years later are just going through the motions of life, had never really identified anything that they particularly love. Just go to work, come home, watch a little TV, take a few vacations, rinse and repeat. Like, what in the world is the difference between these people? What is it? Then, on a trip to Canyon Ranch in Arizona, it came to me, and I'm like, There are different levels of passion. There's a progression of passion. Okay, so first of all passion is born in curiosity. Think about it. As a little kid, maybe you went to the zoo and you were curious about tigers. And then you came home and you learned more and more about them. And then you ended up being a zoologist. There's a progression of passion. It starts with curiosity to see. You start with what you are curious about. So anytime you think, oh my gosh, my life is so boring, I don't really have a passion for anything, guess where you start? You start with what you're curious about. If you look in your life, you will find clues, things that you were curious about. Maybe when you were a kid, for example, for me it was horses. When I moved here a year and a half ago, I kept driving by this, stables. And I ended up working there for 6 months. I followed that curiosity, and it led me to work there for 6 months. So think about what you're curious about, because that's a clue. So the next stage after you identify something you're curious about is the learning stage. You start learning about it. Then that enthusiasm, that excitement stage happens. Then the A stage is the awareness. You start taking action. This is my passion, and I love it. Here's what I'm going to do with it. The top level of passion is the recognition stage. Your peers, your family, they start recognizing that passion within you. Oh, Amy, she loves baking cakes. She makes the most amazing cake. John, he loves everything about business. He has 5 businesses that he's running. You start seeing those patterns of passion. And that is that clear path. Zig Ziglar's son shared this quote with me. I spoke at one of their conferences. And he said, when you catch a glimpse of your potential, that's when passion is born. Think about it. Power your potential. When you catch that glimpse of, oh, wow, I can do this. Or, oh, wow, I've got this new knowledge. Wow, I've got this idea. Oh, wow, I really want to do that. That's where your potential is born. You need to grab it. It's there for a reason. You are never given an idea, a dream, a passion without a purpose behind it. And only you know what that purpose is. Only you know what you're going to do with the idea, the dream, the potential. But it's up to you to act on it. It's up to you to take the steps to make that dream, the potential, into reality. So now we've got a really quick exercise for you. There are 3 clues to passion. If you guys want to write them down, you can. Now, the very first clue is to look back in your past. Think of the moments when you were filled with joy. What were you doing? Who were you hanging out with? What would you love to do again that you did when you were a little kid? Maybe it was dancing, maybe it was ice skating, maybe it was playing kick the can, maybe it was just hanging out with your cousins and not having a care in the world. Look back in your past. You will find those clues in your past. The past is filled with hundreds and not thousands of clues when you look back. And if you see something that you didn't like, what's the opposite of that? Think about that. The stuff that you didn't like when you were a kid, the stuff that was hard, maybe the opposite of it is a clue. Now, the next clue is the present. For those of you who are sitting here thinking, oh my God, this is so boring, I want to be doing whatever, that's a clue. That's a clue. Yeah. If you're standing in line at the DMV, where did your mind go? Here's a clue. You might be thinking of a vacation, you might be thinking of the weekend, you might be thinking of somebody you want to be with, something that you want to do. Your mind is going to wander in those places where it wants to go. That's a clue. Pay attention to that. The next time you're sitting in the doctor's office, the next time you're sitting in a boring meeting, think about that. Now, the next clue is what I call the someday clue. And I know all of you have a someday list. Even if you've never written a someday list, you have it. Someday when I retire, I'm gonna do this. Someday when the kids are grown and gone, I'm gonna do this. Someday when I have 1 hour to myself, I'm gonna do this. Someday when I become president of whatever. So all this stuff is on your someday list, your dreams, your hopes, the future, what you want, someday. So if you took the time to sit down and really write out your someday list, you're gonna start seeing patterns, you're gonna start seeing clues of what's really in your heart. And then the next thing to do is stop waiting for someday. Someday is not on any calendar in the entire world. What action, what steps are you going to take to make your someday a reality? So that's your challenge. You've got 3 clues that you're leaving with today. So tomorrow morning, you have something to tap into that you're passionate about. Now, there are 3 questions that I think shape passion every day. 3 of them, and you can't even read it here. So the first one is when you get up in the morning, I have what I call an M&M morning. And this M&M morning is 4 things. It is meditation. It is meaning. I sit down and I think about what is meaningful to me today. It's motivation. It's reading something, watching a YouTube motivational channel, reading a book, like Unwrapping Your Passion. So that's the 3rd one. The 4th one is movement. Stretching, yoga, running for some people. So those 4 things make up an M&M morning. But then there are 3 questions that shape your day. And the first question, of course, is how are you going to use your time today so that you don't fritter it away? A lot of times we give away our time throughout the day without even thinking about it. The next thing we know, another day has come. The next thing we know, another year has gone by. And you don't want that to happen. So when you wake up and you have a meaningful morning, it shapes a meaningful life. So the second one is, who are you gonna hang out with? In some cases you might think, well, Karen, I have to go to work and I have to hang out with those 5 people that I don't like. What do you want me to do about it? Okay, here you go. You can change 3 things. 3 things. Here it is. First one is the response to your thoughts. The second one is you choose the attitude you want to have. The third one is you choose the actions you want to take. So when you think about that question, who you're going to hang out with, you may not have a choice, but you have a choice in your response. And you also have a choice in who do you want to learn from. There's so many beautiful, amazing people out there in this world that you can learn from. You have that choice. What books you want to read, what mentors you want to bring in your life, the coaches you want to hire, who you want to learn from, the values you want to uplift. So the third one is, what attitude are you going to choose every single day? You may not be able to change some circumstances in your life, but you can choose your attitude. No matter where you are, what you're doing, you have that power over your energy and your attitude. So let's talk about fear really quickly. Fear is a big one. Fear is a big, huge block in front of us sometimes. But here's the thing. Fear, it's out there. Even the most courageous people have fear. The biggest difference is that people who have passion and purpose and a path will go through the fear, because the only way around fear is right through it. And the minute you accept and acknowledge that is the minute that you own your power for your future, for your potential. When you recognize that fear is there and you have the willingness to plow through it. And I'll give you an example. When I got down to Florida, 11 years ago, I was really, really nervous about barefoot water skiing. I was 198 pounds, very much out of shape, had to squeeze into a wetsuit. We get down to the dock, and then it hits me. A very important question that I had to ask the world champion. Are there alligators in this lake? You see, I'm deathly afraid of alligators. I've had nightmares since I was a little kid. And it didn't occur to me that I was going to get into a lake filled with alligators. I'm from Chicago, what do I know? So I'm sitting there on the dock, and the world champion laughs at me, and he goes, oh, yeah, we got alligators in the lake. They won't bother you. You know, the boat scares them away. And all I can think of is, I'm going to get in the water with a 13-foot alligator slithering underneath. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I mean, I'm like, okay, I can just kind of like back out right now, but I really kind of want to water ski. What if I die doing this? It's okay, right? That's passion. That's passion. Passion will push you above and beyond. So I got into that water, and little did I know until I researched it, there are 500 alligators per square mile in a lake in Florida. Yep, that's right. Yep. And I will tell you something. I learned a trick. I'm always the last one to barefoot water ski because they're always hungry for the first one in the water. Little tip there. So, let me go back real quick. I forgot to read this. A lot of people think that bold people have no fear. That is not true. Boldness is not the absence of fear, but the recognition that the best things are worth conquering your fear over. Think about that. Okay, so I want you to meet my friend Craig. Craig is amazing. He's a speaker, travels all over, and he speaks. He is obviously a water skier. You can see him going off a jump here, and he's a downhill skier too. He loves golf, and he loves hockey. But guess what? He is 100% blind, completely blind, can't see anything. And I said, Craig, can you see black? He goes, what's black? He doesn't know what color it is. You know, he's 100% blind, sees absolutely nothing. Now, what did I just tell you? He plays golf, he plays hockey, he downhill skis, he water skis, jumps over a 6-foot jump, something I haven't done, and he can't see. Think about that. How many times do we go through life with perceived barriers because of what people think we can or cannot do? Now, Craig tells me that his golf game is only as good as the partner who's guiding him towards the hole. Yeah. But think about that. The next time you think you cannot do something, I want you to think of Craig. Craig travels all over. No guide dog, no can. Completely blind. And he does all this other stuff. Things that people would say to a little child, you can't do that because you're blind. What are people telling you can't do? Go beyond it. So, the number one thing that blocks passion are excuses. The excuses you tell yourself, the excuses that you listen from other people. Every great dreamer out there has always had naysayers in their path, but they have chosen not to listen to the naysayers and to stay on their path with passion. So these excuses, I don't have time, I'm too old, I don't have the money, I'm not skilled enough, I'm disabled, blah, 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 blah. No. Think about Craig. Yeah. Go beyond your excuses. If you have passion and purpose and potential within you, you've got to get past the excuses in your way. And now, a little exercise, getting off your butts. Yeah, not your butts, but your butts. And sign language, butt. So how do you get off your butts? Okay, I need somebody to come up here, another volunteer. Who's gonna be brave? Come on up. We really should be giving thousands of dollars away for these volunteers. Okay, and your name? Robin. Okay, Robin, I want you to tell me a dream that you have, something that, oh, I really want to do this. Just tell me a dream. I want to write a book. Okay, now tell me the biggest excuse that's blocking you from writing a book. Okay, so I want to write a book, but I don't know where to start. Okay, so now I want you to say the first part of that sentence again. I want to write a book, and I will. I'm waiting. What will you do? When? Tonight. How many words? Excuses be gone. Give her a big hand. Robin got off her butt. All you gotta do is substitute an and an action. I do this with my students here at RIT, and they tell me it's their favorite thing because they finally start thinking in possibilities instead of excuses. Way to go, Robin. I can't wait to read your book. Woo! All right, so let's talk about success really quick. Yeah, how are we doing on time? Who's my timekeeper? We're good on time. I guess I can ramble on. All right, so this picture here, I started doing handstands again as part of this passion thing and reverting back to childhood. You know, and it was pretty cool. I mean, not many people have handstand pictures, right? Okay, so I started doing handstands. And every single year we have a Christmas card, a custom Christmas card that we do. And I said to my family, I want a picture of all of us doing handstands. And my husband's like, no, I'm never doing a handstand. No. So we went to Belize, and me and the kids did handstands. And my husband felt left out. So he said, all right, I'll do a handstand. Really? Okay. I give my camera to a stranger. Will you take a picture for us? Okay. Here's the burst mode. Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay. So we go and we do a handstand. Okay. And lo and behold, we have this amazing Christmas picture, right? So this is what everybody sees, success. We see success from people all over. We're like, oh, we're so jealous of them because they have this amazing, beautiful success, right? We all do it. We're human. We're human. But what you don't see, right? Why are you comparing your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 24? That's what you have to think about. If you are on chapter 1 of something that you are passionate about, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 24. You will get discouraged. So when you look at somebody else's success, be grateful for them and happy for them, and then go back to your path. What do you need to do for you? That is where you become very authentic with your passion. You become very authentic with what's right for you. Then it's very, very easy to stay on your path and celebrate your successes, your growth, your potential, because you're not giving up. Now, speaking of giving up, something that I forgot to tell you about. Remember that clear path to passion? Why do some people get to the top and other people do not? Because they give up. They give up between the enthusiasm stage and the awareness stage, or the awareness stage and the recognition stage. They give up. It gets too hard. They get discouraged. They think they can't do it. They let excuses get in the way. You can't get to the top level of passion unless you commit to your own path, potential, purpose, and passion. Okay. So another question you need to ask yourself is, what are you focusing on every day? Are you letting yourself get sidetracked by things that will not get you where you want to go? Think about where you put your focus every single day. You know, what you focus on expands. It's the law of physics. Okay? So if you are focusing on things that are not going to matter a month, a year, 10 years from now, stop. Stop and think about how you're giving away your time. Think about what you can delegate. If it's not your zone of genius, can somebody else with passion do that task? Think about where you are putting your focus every single day. Because if you give away your focus and fritter away your time, you're frittering away your life, and you're not working in your potential. So, say no in a very loving way. If there's an activity that is not on your path and you don't need to devote time to it, say no. Practice gratitude every single day. Bookend your morning and your evening with gratitude. That simple practice alone is going to increase your potential tenfold. When you get up in the morning, what are you grateful for? What knowledge have you acquired that you were just thrilled about? At the end of the day, what are you grateful that you have learned, the work you've done, the people you've been around? That practice alone is going to change your day. Keep your passions front and center every single day. Create your tribe. Create your tribe around people who have that energy, that passionate energy, who have that vision of where you want to go. Find those people and mentor them. If it's you who is the leader, mentor your tribe. Now, what do you do when passion just, and maybe, like for me, I have seasonal affective disorder. Boy, winters in Rochester. What's the deal here? Where's the sunshine? Thank you, sunshine, today. But for me, it's challenging. So when passion starts to go, you need to take a break sometimes. You need to do something different, you know? Go back to igniting your curiosity. Paint, dance, run, whatever it is. And then reinvent or shift your direction. You know, if something's not working right now, it's a sign to shift. Shift something. Your attitude, your energy, what you're doing, the actions, the people. Something needs to shift. And know this, you are just one decision away from living your passion. Your passion, you're just one decision away. The moment you make that decision to embrace your day with passion, with purpose, with potential, that's when passion begins. And here we are. Yep. Wow. I will tell you this. I'm going to wrap up with one story that will make you rethink everything. The one thing that people challenge me all the time, can you really unwrap your passion at any age, at any time? And I say yes. I said, this one person challenged me and said, but Karen, what if I'm in a nursing home at the end of my life and it's too late then? Now, the next story that I'm going to tell you is going to tell you that it's never too late, and you can, again, one decision away from embracing passion. Way down in Australia, there was a man named Alfie Date. Stop me if you've heard this story before. No one has? Okay. So Alfie, 109 years old, moves into his new nursing home. Off the shore over 500 penguins got caught in the oil spill, and they needed little tiny sweaters knitted for them. Guess what Alfie was passionate about? Knitting. That's right. He was a professional knitter back in 1932. So Alfie gets out his knitting needle, starts knitting. But guess what he does? He teaches classes every day. And they all work together to knit. And he died at 110 years old. So tell me again why you can't tap into your passion at any time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen, for that encouraging and passionate presentation. We are going to take a short break, but first, please give another round of applause for Karen for that wonderful presentation.
Our next speaker is Janice Thomas. She is a leader and advocate for equality for all. She served in the United States Army as supplement surgeon and equal opportunity representative as a conference manager for the largest North American musical festival. This is an event run by all women with a special focus on entrepreneurship and small business advancement initiative. Additionally, she served in the civil service sector as a program specialist for the Federal Bureau of Prison Inmate Work Release Programs. Currently, she holds the position as the Ohio State Consumer Packaged Goods Accountant Manager and the Regional Co-Chair for Altria's Veteran Employee Resource Group SALU. In 2020, Janice completed her EMBA at RIT, where she was awarded the Donna Shade Leadership Award, and as a result of her interest in diversity, proposed a diverse leadership course as a requirement learning element for RIT's EMBA program. Most recently, Janice completed a year-long journey traveling the country and visiting African American monuments, museums, and sites representing significant change and revolution. She has had the unique opportunity to document her journey and the impact it has had on her as a leader through company podcasts and speaking events. Janice is a firm believer that diversity and inclusion is professional development, and it does not operate independently of each other. Additionally, she believes that it is the premise and core of business ideology, new product development strategies, and most importantly, people. Today, she will discuss subject to change. Please join me in welcoming Janice Thomas.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Women's History Month. Like, what a great way, right? What a great way to kick off the first week of Women's History Month with a Power Your Potential Women's Conference. So I'm super excited to be here. Again, my name is Janice Thomas, and I'm an RIT alum myself, COVID class of 2020 with the EMBA program. Out of curiosity, though, was anybody confused when they looked at the agenda and saw that the topic was subject to change? Yes. Me too. I was like, what? They don't have their stuff together. So, but that is actually what I named my journey, which is what I'm going to share with you all. So for the year of 2021, I took the time to travel to 23 different states, 4 of them twice, 36 cities, and 64 museums. And I titled it Subject to Change because, as I quickly realized, as my destinations were changing, so was my perspective as I continued to expose myself to differences and find out more about myself. So I'm looking forward to sharing my journey with you all. I feel presidential up here with this podium. Okay, so Subject to Change started. So I finished school in 2020, the end of 2020. And I had already decided to move out of Rochester. It's just too cold for me, can't do it. And I wanted to trade the snow in for sand. And originally, I was just gonna go to a couple of different states, some major cities, to see if I liked it and stay there for a little bit before making that final decision to move. because of COVID, I felt like I wasn't going to get a real sense or feel of the community. So I had a few places on my bucket list that I wanted to travel to. And I said, I'll go visit them. In 2 to 3 months, COVID would blow over, and that did not happen. So also, too, if you all recall, at the time, in the beginning of 2021, the temperament of the country was very uneasy. And there was a lot of racial tensions, and some major corporations and organizations were putting diversity and inclusion, they were amplifying it and putting it on the forefront as they should. And my company was one of them. And so maybe about a week before